All right, and we're good. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Wrestling Chop Shop. As I told you before, we were trying to get back into doing the Wrestle Talk creator interviews. For the first time, I do have one of the co-hosts with me. I have Alex. It's going to be a little different, so we will let our guest introduce herself, let her tell you where you guys can follow her and everything like that. Go ahead.
Hey y'all, I'm Sienna Chanel or SC for short. I'm one of the Wrestle Talker creators though. You guys can follow me on all social media, which is in that little like tag, whatever, at Sienna underscore Chanel underscore. Except for my Twitch channel, it's under Sienna underscore Chanel without the second underscore as well, though. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the interview, y'all. And I would say thank you so much for having me here. I'm forever grateful. I've been following both of y'all, since like joining TikTok. So yeah.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So points of these interviews is so for the people who already follow you and people who don't know you as well, we ask simple questions. So the main one I ask at the beginning, what got you into wrestling?
Well, what got me into wrestling is when I was in the fourth grade, so 1999, during the Attitude Era, I was sitting next to a kid playing action figure inside a yellow bus. And that was like after school, though, where, yeah, a little bit of myself, I took special ed because of my learning disability, and it's one of those yellow buses, like medium to small. So it's only like 7 to 10 kids on that bus. And there's this boy next to me who was playing an action figure, like two of them. One of them I could not remember, but the second one I vividly remember. It was a Triple H action figure. I turned to him and I said, "What are you playing?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm playing wrestling." I was like, "Wait, wrestling?" And so he kind of like told me a little bit about Triple H. And I don't know that second action figure. You know, it's been years. And he told me about WWE, and at the time was WWF, and told me about like Monday Night Raw and all the wrestlers. And he said if there's this evil person named Mr. McMahon. I was like, okay. Until one night, while my parents are asleep, like I grew up in a strict household though, where I'm not allowed to watch like certain like TV programs except for cartoons and stuff like that. So one night I tuned into TV and I saw Monday Night Raw was on, and from there on, the rest is history. So I've been watching wrestling on and off since 1999, and then I stopped watching wrestling in 2005 for a year, and that was 2 weeks after Eddie Guerrero passed away, which it really did hit hard on me because he was one of my favorite cruiserweight wrestler, and him passing was like it was really hard. And then I started watching wrestling again until 6 months later, the whole incident that happened back in 2007, which we all know about. And from there on, I stopped watching wrestling completely until summer of 2011, thanks to an infamous pipe bomb by CM Punk. So, yeah, that's where I got into wrestling. I got into independent wrestling back in 2017, and the rest is history.
Okay, and I just love hearing Triple H because Triple H, that's
Mhm.
my first memory seeing him come back from the quad injury in Madison Square Garden, seeing the pop. I was like, what's so special about this guy? He just has on like a jean jacket. Like, what's so cool about him? But you said you did, you were able to sneak a little bit to watch the wrestling. What was the first wrestler who really caught your attention? Because you could learn about something and then take a look at it, but that doesn't mean you'll end up liking it.
Mhm. The
So,
first wrestler
go ahead.
I would say the first wrestler that caught my attention that fell in love with wrestling, which it was actually one of my first um TikTok video that got like I would say viral, but got everybody's attention. Of course, the first wrestler that caught my attention was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it was his promo. Which, funny enough, that his feud against The Rock was a month before their match at WrestleMania 17. So from there on, like something about Steve Austin, like his promos, his attitude, his gimmick, it actually really draws on me too. Because like I it's kind of like a funny story to say at least because like of his attitude kind of reminds me of one of my cousins, my older cousin. So yeah, so it kind of like resonated to me and it's like that's where I kind of like fell in love with wrestling too.
So, what were some of the women wrestlers that caught your eye? Because again, Attitude Era, different era.
Mhm. Yep.
So, which were some of the women that caught your eye immediately?
Well, let's see. First of all, China, because China is like one of the most influential wrestlers that actually ever that caught my attention, especially like she wrestles like different guys and different women too, which is actually like it gave me hope. It's like, there are a lot of like female fan base as well. Like China is definitely like one of the role models. Also at the time, Trish Stratus, and then Lita, also Jacqueline, and that's what I kind of like remember like growing up, like, seeing like different like WWE women's superstar, and before at the time there were like divas, which like to me it's like even though they have like a misconception about like the women in WWE, but I do see them as badass women. They can do whatever they want to. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I got one more question, and then I'll let Alex ask a few things in case he has anything. What what got you into starting to create content?
What started got me to create content is that I started well, first of all, I started to like tweet out a lot of stuff. That was back in 2017 when I got into Twitter. Because I love sharing wrestling, I love sharing the passion of it. I have like, on my personal Facebook page at the time, and then I was like, there's only another creator. I like try Twitter. I have an Instagram, but it was like, random everything at the time too. So that's where I started to create content like Twitter and then YouTube, where my friends and I, we kind of like start making a fan made hype videos like in our perspective YouTube channel. And that was like before the whole Sienna Chanel got rebranded too. It was under a different name. And from there on, that like I created like, like my friends and I do like the fan hype promos for those indie wrestling companies to WWE predictions video reviews, like the typical stuff. And then from there on, I got noticed because I followed this one dirt sheet site called NoDQ.com. And that was kind of like at the time I thought they were like my main source before I discovered like different like wrestling news sites that are like pretty much the dirt sheets are kind of like very fickle as hell. And yeah, I got dab into the world of like the dirt sheet. So I was part of NoDQ.com in 2018, only on the YouTube perspective, like doing reviews, like like discussions, predictions videos as well. And I see like the different side of what it is like in like the realm of the dirt sheets too, though. And from there on, it's like it was kind of like not sitting well with me for the insert part and all that. And from there on, it's like I just wanted to create my own content and whatnot. And then that's where I discovered TikTok back in 2020, January 2021, like during the pandemic, where like, everything shuts down. I was working most of the time. At first, I was against TikTok because I thought it's just for like teenagers and stuff. But I noticed that a lot of people are like joining TikTok, including notable like content creators that I follow on YouTube and wrestling like news sites and all that stuff, like from Cultaholic to Wrestle Talk, TALK, to like different like wrestling personality joining TikTok as well. I was like, you know what? Why not? So I joined TikTok. It was like all over the place too, because I did like dance trends that are not wrestling related. I did do a little bit of wrestling too. And from there on, that I got swooped into a community where like I thought it's just gonna be just like, even though it was part of the wrestling community, but it was like wrestling, but then a different side of the community where like I've seen a lot of behind the scene from there on. And from there, last March, that's when it's like everything like tenfolded because of like the toxicity, the drama, the BS. I got accused of some things where it's like that is so completely not true. And I do see the shadiness from certain people, including the person who is like quote unquote in charge of the community and trying to gatekeep on TikTok. And also like
We
I
have
was
a
kind of like,
leader.
Who's our
well,
boss?
quote
Huh?
unquote
Boss.
couple. Yeah, couple,
Does he say? Actually, did he sign you a paycheck? Because I don't remember a paycheck.
It's sad because
Nope.
Eagles are that big. Like
They
it's
are.
Exactly.
they like
Egos, gatekeeping, yeah. So, and plus, like, I was like scared from, I was scared for my life or my safety. So I deleted everything on TikTok, and then I deleted all my socials, and then took a break from social media. And then from there on, that's where I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna get this out of me. I did talk to that particular person, and he did apologize, but the apologize kind of seems to be sideways though. So I kind of like play along with it and all that, because like you can't change a person with like, those different like personality traits. And then from there on, it's like, you know what, I'm going back to social. So I went back to Instagram, Twitter, created Twitch, and then TikTok was the last one. So boom. That's where Sienna Chanel was born, you know. Even though I'm back as just the human form, but the name Sienna Chanel, of course, is reborn, rebranded, and that's how I started to make wrestling content. And from there on, like after learning everything like from TikTok, it's like just make sure to focus on one content with the audience, you know, do like 80 to 90% wrestling content, and then the rest do like what you like music, or do like drinks review, a little bit of movie review, and a little bit about yourself as well. And that's from where I got all about. And thank God for TikTok stories too, because from TikTok stories, you can definitely post it. It will go away within 24 hours instead of like having it on video where you got to delete it and all that. Yeah.
love hearing when everybody says, "Hey, it was quarantine, so I was bored, didn't really have
That's all
nothing to
of
do."
us.
That's I'm pretty sure that's almost all of us because I
That's
was
like
against it.
80% of wrestling TikTok. I believe that.
So I'm gonna pass it on to Alex. Alex, if you have any questions, again, you have more indie aspect than I do, so
Yeah.
floor is
No, but
yours.
this was more about herself and you being a female content creator or a female wrestling fan as well. How much emphasis do you have to put, to validate an opinion in a male dominated world? Because we already know the cliche that, wrestling is a male dominated fan base and they sometimes don't take women's opinion lightly, or they don't believe it. They'll give you the cliche like, "Oh, you're a woman. What do you know about wrestling?" How much emphasis or struggle as a fan did you have to endure to get your points across as a legitimate claim?
I mean, the only thing that like what the guys are even drawn to me is like the appearances, because like knowing the fact that like the only thing I do want to share is like my love for wrestling and for my passion about it. The majority of the time I do get like comments from like different like people saying that, oh, she's so cute, she's into wrestling, that's so adorable. But sometime like when I go into like a more like a very deep thought opinions about it, they call me sensitive, they call me like, uptight, and also the ageism too, because like I'm in my almost to my mid 30s, and I do get judged for like my age. Like even though I don't look like my age, they consider me as a young wrestling fan, and they question me like, "Oh, what do you know about old school wrestling? Do you know about the Attitude Era? Oh, come back when you have those old themes or old knowledges too." And it seems to be so mind-boggling is that like how much they can be so judgmental about like anything that I say or do, but at the same time, I just don't let get this bother me at all too. And it's just like just wanted to bring in more like more knowledge, more opinions, more aspect to it too. But sometimes like you can't please anyone too. And that's
Mhm.
one of the things that I really need to learn like throughout the long run too, is that like everybody has like a very valid opinion whether you agree or not. Is just all about respecting one another no matter what. And the only thing I really don't like is just going back and forth arguments about like, oh, you should like this video or wrestlers or anything, or why do you not, on all that. And it seems to be like really repetitive in
Mhm.
my own like eyes. But from there on, I just like don't let it bother me till this day. And it's just like, continue what I always do. And especially like sharing the love, sharing the knowledge, and the
Mhm.
passion for wrestling as a whole, especially me as a female, almost in my mid 30s content creator.
Right. So another question I brought up since Axel brought independence. You said you got into independent wrestling during 2017. What promotions got you into it? Obviously, you're gonna have your local independents, and obviously in California, we got so many promotions from Northern California down to Southern
Hmm.
California. Other than those small promotions, what big independent promotions got you into being more knowledgeable about wrestling? Was it like New Japan, Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling?
Well, then, funny enough, I did follow Impact Wrestling since like after I got back into watching WWE, but I don't consider Impact Wrestling as an indie promotion. I
Hmm.
consider it as like a second promotion. That was the time this whole WWE Impact Wrestling
Yes.
debate has been going on. And I did not know about Ring of Honor nor New Japan until like I got into independent wrestling back in 2017. And funny enough, I got into independent wrestling when I was staying in Canada for almost half of 2017. So I took a break from everything and I was like, you know what? I need to like, go to Canada. So I stayed with friends' houses, just
Hmm.
crashing in. And my friends that I met them online like years ago told me about this one independent wrestling company called Alpha One Wrestling, which it used to be run by Ethan
Ethan Page.
Page. That's right, Ethan Page. So I was very interesting about it. They told me a lot about the independent wrestling scene, who they feature, which wrestlers. And so once I was in Canada, we've been watching like 7 DVDs of Alpha One Wrestling, and I was very drawn by it. And I remember like seeing like who was in Alpha One Wrestling, like Josh Alexander, Ethan Page, there's Joey Janela, to even Ruby Soho, to John Silver, and everybody else that appeared. And so it got me really drawn to like excited for independent wrestling that I went to my first indie show live, Alpha One Wrestling. And I remember the main event match, which y'all gonna be like, I don't know how y'all feel. The main event match was RSP versus Gregory Irons in a dog collar match. Yeah. Dog collar match where it got, yeah, one of
Mhm.
those matches that's got really bloody
Yeah.
and yeah, almost death matches. I remember everybody was so floored, and I remember getting off my seats, because I really don't want to get like blood all over me because I was sitting front row with my friends, and I was like, yeah, but then at the same time, I was very tuned into this match particular too. And so from there on, the rest is history. And of course, who else is appearing on when I went to go see the show live? John Silver to Josh Alexander, MJF with Stokely Hathaway to Josh Alexander and his wife Jay Chung, which at the time they were boyfriend and girlfriend dating before they got engaged. And yeah, and that's it. And so many others too. And I really love the atmosphere. I really love how intimate and especially the meet and greet with the different wrestlers as well. And the first wrestler that I actually met, which a former friend of mine introduced me, was Ethan Page. It was super cool though.
Awesome. Also you being a Latina, how into lucha libre are you? I know sometimes that's a cliche to ask for Latinos because that's one thing they ask us. Oh, you're a Latino. Are you into lucha libre? Yes or no? And if you say no, they're gonna be like, what kind of Latino are you? How come you don't like lucha libre? So I'm gonna ask you as a Latina, are you a lucha libre fan?
Well, I am, yes. However, funny enough, and I do remember in the back of my head because like I was even to like into that wrestling at the time, but when I was like around 6 or 7, my grandfather visited my mom and sister and I all the way from Nicaragua.
Hmm.
And I remember like, I was doing my usual 6 or 7-year-old self playing Barbie dolls and whatnot. And I saw my grandpa was watching Lucha Libre, and it's from CMML on Ganavision. I think that's how I got the wrestling bug, like
There we go.
probably through my grandpa. So yeah, and then I discovered more about Lucha Libre, more like because like the first luchador that I follow was Rey Mysterio, obviously,
Yeah.
and then from there on, I went through deeply like watching like different lucha matches from AAA wrestling and CMML. I mean, I was kind of like, a little bit loving the style of like the different like in-ring technicality they have. And of course, like here in California, we do have an independent wrestling promotion that is having on Lucha Libre called Pro Wrestling Revolution. I've been to three of the shows. Two of
Mhm,
them were like co-hosting because they have like a tournament called the King of Indies tournament,
mhm.
which is like a tournament for all the independent wrestling stars like from both promotions. And they're gonna have a women's version in May of this year called Queen of Indies too.
There we go.
Yeah, and from there on, like everything about lucha libre, like I love the different mask design, but the styles of wrestling did caught my eyes to watch too. So that's how much I was like a little bit more in depth of lucha libre.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Let's see what else to ask. All right, as far as New Japan goes, because during that time frame, what got you into New Japan? Well, I'm guessing it's gonna be like everybody else's, like Omega and Okada, or was something else that caught your eye to become a fan of New Japan?
Well, then, what caught me my eye to become a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling? It's all thanks to, well, Bullet Club,
Hmm.
or Cody Rhodes did join Bullet Club. Yup. It
Huh.
was at the, yes, because that's where I got new into independent wrestling at the time. And I remember a month after going to my first independent wrestling show, Cody Rhodes was there at Alpha One Wrestling, and I did actually met him twice, like in because like he was like somewhat like a regular special guest appearance in Alpha One Wrestling because of the relationship with Ethan Page and other like wrestlers.
Hmm.
And so what I found out about New Japan Pro Wrestling is like some of my friends tell me about it. Oh, Bullet Club, this and that. And then so I started watching like a couple of like the matches from New Japan. But then I'm like kind of switched to watching Okada's match. Yeah, so I remember Okada versus Shinsuke Nakamura's match, like from the internet, because like the guys told me that, oh, Shinsuke used to wrestle for New Japan. I was like, oh, okay, let me go ahead and take a look, and that kind of like got me drawn
Hmm.
to, and also different matches, like from Naito's matches to Will Ospreay, which I know Will Ospreay was like one of the most popular British wrestlers ever, and that got me really drawn into New Japan Pro Wrestling. And from there on, I started to watching it a little bit up until during the pandemic 2020 when New Japan did came back when they do the empty arena show. I remember watching it as a whole, like waking up like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning West Coast time to watch the show itself, including the New Japan Cup tournament too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing I gotta ask, because you're one of the most neutral content creators that we see. There's nothing ever problematic about you. Um, and in the fan base, there's always like Team WWE, Team AEW, yada yada yada, this, that, and third. I'm not saying what team are you on, but which product do you tend to side more, whether it's WWE, AEW, or any other promotion? Which one do you have more leniency towards, to where you can watch it on a consistent basis without any issue?
I mean, I'm like, honestly, it's like there's no pick and choose size for
Hmm.
it too. Even though, yes, I do admit I do watch more AEW than WWE.
Hmm.
It's not because of the product is boring or anything like that. It's just because of timing schedule
Yeah.
too. Because I work, at a blue collar job like everybody else, and I'm trying to find time like out of my day to sit down and watch wrestling as a whole too. Sure, there's the internet where I can watch like different clips from Monday Night Raw to AEW Dynamite to NXT SmackDown, all this and the nine though. But I just I just kind of like, ling a little bit about AEW because of because of the wrestlers that's in AEW are the wrestlers that I've seen at the indies before they
Hmm.
got signed to AEW in the first place. Like Jungle Boy Jack Perry, I followed him when he was in All Pro Wrestling, which is like the home indie wrestling promotion before it got shut down in 2021 when they had their final show. Powerhouse Hobbs, Ethan Page, um, let's see who it was Joey Janela at the time when he used to be in AEW. So is Cody Rhodes. Penelope Ford was in it too. Thunder Rosa, um, Scorpio Sky, which I don't know where the hell he's at. Christopher Daniels, Frank Kazarian used to be at the time, and so much more. So I do have like a little bit of like kind of like a connection like with AEW because of the wrestlers itself
Mhm.
too. And despite like Tony Khan and like a lot of like the questionable stuff he's doing too, that's what kind of draws me here a little bit more
Mhm.
than to like WWE because I know WWE has kind of like everything that has been going on leading up to like Triple H being in charge of creative too, which he's doing a phenomenal job and it got me to where I started watching WWE again since I took like a almost a 3-year break since April of 2020. Stopped watching WWE as a whole though.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's where I kind of like leaning towards too. But besides that, like, I'm very neutrals into like which wrestling promotion that I watch, like AEW, WWE, New Japan, sometime Impact, sometime AAA, Ring of Honor as well, though. So yeah.
All right, so I want to ask this question because I could only imagine the experience. I saw your video on the whole Eddie Kingston thing that happened. You were there.
Hmm.
How was the whole experience?
Well, it was pretty much a very fun experience to be part of the press conference. So what came about is that so Love Panda 24 by 48, he has a wrestling Twitch network called the Panda Wrestling Company, which runs 7 days a week, different podcast show live on Twitch, like from Ego Drip to Learning the Ropes to Russell Endures Raw, um, and etc. Which the show that I'm a part of is called the Phenomenal Four podcast, which I joined by that wrestling lady, Dia Positivity, and Irish Neep. They're my
Yes,
co-hosts.
sir.
Yes.
Love
So,
them.
yeah, so I joined the network on New Year's of this year after Panda did message me, ask me if I'm interested to join the Panda Wrestling Company network, and I'll be like, yes. And then 2 weeks later, their old co-host had to leave the show, which Irish Need did reach out to me, and I say yes for that opportunity. And from there on, like fast forward to like on Valentine's Day where I got a video chat with the rest of the Phenomenal Four podcasting crew, Panda and Self Bet Wrestling, who is also the co-owner of the company as well. They told me the news that we got the press conference for New Japan Pro Wrestling. They got the credentials and everything because New Japan did posted a tweet saying that if you're part of press and media, make sure to fill out the inquiry. And so Panda did, and yeah, that's how we just found out. And since I was going to Battle in the Valley, which is like almost 2 hours away from where I'm currently living, I was like, yeah, I'm down to do the press conference. So yeah, so I'm representing not just the Panda Wrestling Company, but also TikTok as a whole too, to being part of media. So I went there, checked myself in, letting them know I'm representing the podcast. And yeah, so the rules are no recordings, and we are not doing like, asking questions to the wrestlers as well too, because they just wanted to make it more intimate. With New Japan Pro Wrestling, they're kind of like strict when it comes to like having recording devices, including shows as well. Because I've gone to a couple New Japan shows before when they come to California. So from there on, I was there. I have my notebook. I have like my pen with me, and we are allowed to take pictures too, which is the coolest part. Which I tweeted like a couple of pictures on my Twitter page during the day of the press conference. And from there on, it was such a very pleasant experience too. I was sitting front row, seeing the wrestlers up close that I couldn't imagine, as someone that watches wrestling on television or in the arena, like sitting like few feet away or sometimes the nosebleed seats though, that I finally got the opportunity to be up close, but also being professional at the same time because I got to make sure to report everything to the PWC. And from there on, like taking pictures, writing down the notes that I take up until where Eddie Kingston, it was just Eddie Kingston alone. And I know that he wanted to show Jay White a lesson. And the coolest part, he did talk about the three musketeer of Japanese strong style wrestling from Chono to Inoki and to Ricky Dozen. And list goes on and up until, you know, you have the Three Musketeer like Okada, Tanahashi, and I think I would say Ishii. I could be wrong, but I gotta look back at the press conference that's on YouTube and also on the on Fight TV. And from there on, I was in the middle of writing my notes until Eddie Kingston looked at me, and of course he's like, "I see you write that down," and I was like smiling, holding my, I was like that with the pen, and then from there on, yeah, that's all happened too. But at the same time, I was like remaining professional, writing it down, but in the back of my mind, I was like, holy crap, Eddie Kingston noticed me. But funny enough, I did met Eddie Kingston back in 2017 at Alpha One Wrestling as well too, and he's a cool guy though. So, but then again, it's like being in this experience was such an amazing moment. And I know you're gonna like this, Axel, because I know you're a Mercedes Monet fan. But when Mercedes came out and then Kyrie, like in the back of my mind, I was like, I can't believe this is real because these are two of the female wrestlers that I watch on TV. I watched sitting like higher up or like feet away from the ringside
Mm-hmm.
to where I'm like, you know, seeing them in the present at one of the most notable wrestling companies, New Japan Pro Wrestling. And like after doing everything and I got into my car, like about to drive out, and I was like, this is really incredible. But then again, it's like I'm very forever grateful to have this wonderful experience and being part of the press conference, not just like, you know, representing the Panda Wrestling Company, but also representing TikTok as a whole too, because I'm like the only TikTok creator um is representing at that press conference, along with like social media personality to podcasters
Mm-hmm.
to radio station as well too. And to get this out of the way, unfortunately, Dave Meltzer wasn't there. Yeah.
Dave Meltzer.
Okay. Oh yeah. I mean, if he was there, I had to be on my best behavior though, as a professional though. So yeah.
Which is
You're a better person than me, because I would have ranted like a mother to Dave.
that's awesome. And who would have thought? You know, all from TikTok.
Exactly.
It's all from TikTok. That's
It used to be from Twitter, but now it's TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
it's starting to make it a lot easier. You know,
No,
and that's
it is
why.
because instead of
Go ahead.
just typing your tweets, it's more of a verbal, emotional connection you have. But they see how emotionally attached you are when you post your opinions like on this, rather than just typing it on a computer or on a phone.
Yeah, and that's what I've been noticing lately too, is because I know Twitter, which to be quite fair, I never go on TikTok like what I used to because like of all of the toxicity has been going on with like the IWC on Twitter is like one of the most verbal like verbal toxicity ever, because once like you post it, then there's like a back and forth comments, and then there's like, you know, can't like this. Okay, the whole cancer culture thing is starting to get out of control in at best, especially like
Mhm.
on Twitter too. Like if you say something that like, or like people witch hunt and looking through old tweets and then like remind them too. And it's like, you know, you can see like a lot of the toxicity like from Twitter, not just like, you know, from content creator, but also wrestlers itself too.
Mhm.
Too. Even though even though like, you know, you have wrestlers that did apologize for their uncannability, unless it's like very truthful and honest, or like even for like a small mistake, you know, that's how it came about. And then people are like very divided with like different opinions and different viewpoints too. With TikTok, I feel it's like much more easier because we do have more of a creative outlet to
Mhm.
like to voice our opinions, to voice our viewpoints, and to share what we love the most too.
Gotta love it. Like you said, you've been following me. You see, I do it in so many ways, expressing my. Now, with the toxicness in TikTok, what keeps bringing you back to making the content, continuing the videos and everything like that? Because for me, it is kind of difficult because, you know, you want to post stuff and you want people to understand, you know, sometimes you're just joking around, but there's those people who take it too far. And like you said, you do have the comments, and sometimes I've taken a break here and there. So what keeps you coming back?
What keeps me coming back is that, like, with being on, well, the internet wrestling community since 2017 and seeing everything has been folded, I just got to remind myself is that those are the people that are like have nothing else to do. People are going through a lot in their personal life too. And I'm not getting it, like, that's not going to even bother me as well. And sure, there's this one comment that someone did posted on one of the WWE ranking superstar theme songs saying that never let her go back in the kitchen. And I was like, this has got to be the dumbest, immature like comments ever. So that's why I made the video about it. And and sometimes it can be a little bit repetitive too, because like every time I seen like some stupid ass comments, I just had to delete, delete, delete. And so myself and Gracie, aka that wrestling lady, we did have a discussion about like how much it's so tiresome to trying to delete each of the comments from our videos, to like where it got to the point where it's like it's getting pretty exhausted too. And I would have say like take a break or anything. No, I just continue to what I normally do. It's just like not having them getting into me, because like they're actually like people are going through like similar situation behind the keyboards, but they just wanted to let it out and just like all jokes aside for them or whatever. And it's like, you know what, it's not going to bother me. I'm just going to continue what I do. And as a motto I always do, I'll continue to do what I always do best, is my happiness, because making TikTok videos is actually keep me going, and having like more of a creative outlet, and I'm always having fun. Even on my good days or bad days, always having fun.
And that's one of the things that brings me back. You know, the fun, the fan base that you do have, the ones that do love interacting with you, that make it good. And honestly, it's not that they get to me. It's just that I want to make videos back sometimes, but I really don't want to risk my page anymore, because TikTok is crazy with the community violations and all
Oh
that. So
yeah.
if you would have saw my first account, you can ask Alex. It was different. I was making videos to almost every comment. No, it was.
No,
It
he
was
really
bad.
was. And the ironic part about it, it was never he never said anything verbal. He just used other sounds from TikTok to pretty much counter the insults that other fans were giving him. But since they got pressed about it, what do? Spam report.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
sometimes
what they do.
if you have a disagreement or quote unquote beef with another content creator, they'll send their cronies and be like, "Hey, mass report this guy. I don't like him." And obviously, without hesitation, they're gonna do it. Which is another thing what's toxic about this fan base, where some content creators have the nerve to tell their fans, "Hey, spam report this creator because I don't like him."
Yeah, and also like what I'm noticing now is that, you know, content creator getting their TikTok live account banned for like a couple days
Mm-hmm.
to a week to the nine too. And that is one thing that is like, oh yeah, yeah, I feel so bad for you, Alex,
I
though.
got banned for a week, and I'm like, "What did I say?" Even Axel was like, "Alex
Yeah,
didn't say."
exactly. So this is what I've been noticing lately too, and I always have to like be careful to what I say or do, so that way I
Mm-hmm.
won't get like a community guideline violation. And trust and believe, like when I was in that previous community, especially I had that other page too, like for because I okay. Fun fact: I had 3 TikTok pages. 2 of them are like just separate accounts as well, because I just wanted to keep my main account as focused on like other content.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed about this, the community guideline violations, because you gotta be careful what you're saying, or you gotta put like a disclaimer, entertainment purposes only,
Mm-hmm.
or like the hashtag as well. Because like knowingly, if you're knowing for people who are like a fan of this person or standing that person and all that, it's just starting to get really repetitive too. And that's why I'm be careful of like the choice of words, or like coding like some of the words I normally put on the captions. even like even we're talking about like serious subject as well. It sucks that we have to like be careful what we have to say in our platform because of those different community guidelines too,
And
No, yeah.
and also shadow banning. Like, yeah, like I noticed that I got shadow banning like a little bit of it, but then it's starting to get rised up again. Like,
One thing I would recommend with in terms of shadow banning is because I know there's some people that spam like
Mhm.
block them immediately because that's how you get shadow banned. It sounds mean,
yeah,
but you have to
I
block those
did.
people
I
because that's how
did.
they.
That's what a couple people told me about. Because one time when I was in the middle of doing a live watch along for the PWC, someone like spam like it is like you gotta ban it. I was like, yeah, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing you gotta do, because Axel knows this, I mainly do skits now or just do the cap cuts for wrestling now, because A, those get me more views, but B, because
Yeah.
everything's so sensitive now that just me speaking on something could get me banned.
They're getting
Yeah.
sensitive on cap cuts now. It's crazy.
That's what
Like,
bothers me too. I'm like,
I'm trying to
Mhm.
make it my only type of content, and they're still getting sensitive, so I might as well say something.
yeah,
Yeah.
And then with the lives, you really have to watch yourself. You could be
Mhm.
answering comments, and then you'll get Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes, and you really got to be careful because
yeah,
there's certain fan bases that are toxic, and you don't like Roman? Spam report.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because I don't
exactly.
know what we were talking about when we were at your on your live. I didn't even say anything insulting, and then all of a sudden I get kicked out of your live. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, you're banned
that's
for a week.
another thing. They'll ban somebody on live for something somebody else said, and it's like, how does that work out?
Yeah.
It's just TikTok is good, but at the same time, there's
Yeah, it's like a
50-50.
balancing act too. Yeah.
Because you can post something that you put your hard work in, barely any views. You could post something stupid, and then boom, 1 million, and it's like, come on,
Yeah.
man, come on. And they don't push out anything else for any other platforms, which sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
TikTok will ban you for breathing. I mean, yeah,
I'm
you're
pretty
not
sure if
wrong.
I sneeze, I'm getting shadow banned or banned for a month.
But I do.
Yeah.
But back to the wrestling side of things, I do want to get your point of view on a few current things going on right now.
Okay.
How do you feel about the current storyline going on with the Bloodline?
I love it. I mean, at first, like, I was even getting into like, the whole bloodline aspect until when Triple H took over creative and made it so much better. And like the first time that like I watched WWE as a full was like on the episode of SmackDown Live, the whole like Sammy saying feeling oozy, which I was like, this is getting so much better. From there on, I actually fell in love with the whole like bloodline storyline, especially having Sami Zayn in it because that is like one of the missing pieces that everybody is like looking forward to and looking drawn to as well. Oh, and on side note too, I actually met Solo Sequoia at an indie show before he has the blonde hair, before he was buff though. Yeah, but he's hella chill though. Yeah, he's hella chill person to me, and alongside Rikishi as well, which he was, pretty cool too, though. But all in all, with the Bloodline storyline, I actually love it. I'm looking forward to what's gonna be folding at WrestleMania, though. Especially Roman being the tribal chief is like, yeah, that definitely make more sense to him being the double champion, though.
Mhm.
And so, and yeah, I do admit at the time I was in not a fan of Roman though, and then until like when he made his return after everything he'd been through, I give respect to Roman though. Yeah, whether you're a babyface or a heel, I respect Roman.
He's all right.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll never hear him say anything nice about Roman.
I mean, I just say he all right. Like, what do you want from me?
Yeah, exactly.
Joe on Hawaii, he'll say something nice too about Joe on Hawaii, but Roman Reigns, nah.
Okay. Do you see? Well, do you think Cody Rhodes is going to be the one to beat Roman?
Honestly, to say it's gonna be yes. Even though people do have like a agree or disagree, but I think that Cody Rhodes is the missing pieces of what he needs for WWE. Sure, he's been gone with the injuries for so many months, but having Cody beating Roman and win the title will set like a whole new bar, especially different views too. Like I could remember this, like I could see like we could see like another feud between Cody and Seth for the title, Cody or versus Gunther. Yeah, or even, I mean, down the line, Cody versus Austin Theory.
Y'all are mentioning them. I'm trying to
Mhm.
I'm trying to manifest Cody versus Randy.
I
Yeah, him
mean,
too.
give Randy
That.
his last good heel run. I mean, I could see it.
Or
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask this because Axel is here. How have you felt about this year-long run for Bianca Belair? Because we see a lot of haters on social media. Me and Axel are big advocates. Well, Axel bigger than me of
Mhm.
Bianca Belair and her current run as a women's champion. I want to hear from a female fan perspective. How you felt with her run? Do you feel like the character's been played out? Does it need any tweaks, upgrades? Does she need what everybody's been asking, a heel turn, or is she on a trajectory of a good performance?
Honestly, she's doing an incredible job the way she's doing right now, though. And especially the problem is like with the different fan bases, they want to see something different. They want to see like a different feud. It's because like Bianca Belair is a baby face, or if she would have been a heel, it'll be a different trajectory. It's like no, she's doing a really good job the way she's doing, especially like being the Raw Women's Champion. I mean, her run as a champion, she's doing a phenomenal job, and I have no complaints about it whatsoever. Though, even though despite the fact that at Mania, I do want to see Asuka being the Raw Women's Champion. Maybe that's going to be like something like what's going to be happening with Bianca Belair in a long run too. Who knows? Like, and you got to think of it. We got the draft coming up very soon after Mania. And it could be like whether she's going to be seen on Raw or go to SmackDown. And people could like stop bitching and complaining about the whole like, oh, Rhea didn't choose Bianca. If Bianca go to SmackDown, if Rhea won the SmackDown Women's title from Charlotte Flair, there you go, people. Yeah.
Speaking of Rhea, thoughts on the Judgment Day?
Okay. I like Judgment Day when Edge was the leader. Now it's like
Oh,
yeah, kind of like a hit or miss kind of deal. I mean, the only Judgment Day members I do enjoy the most is Rhea, of course, and Damian Priest. Finn Balor, I miss the old Finn Balor. I'm sorry to say it. I miss Finn Balor. I miss the Demon Balor. But now it's like, it's kind of like a little bit not hitting it for me.
mhm.
And don't get me started with Dominic Mysterio. Oh my god.
You don't mess with condom.
You don't like Dom Dom?
You don't like Dom Dom. You don't like.
He's
You don't like.
alright. He's alright. Let's just
You
say
don't like.
that. He's
You don't like
aight.
Conan Jr.
I respect Conan, okay? I respect Conan, and yes, Conan and his podcast did follow my TikTok page, by the way, on the side note, though.
Same thing with me. I'm on
Yeah.
you. I'm on the same
Nice.
board as you. Conan
Yes.
followed me too on.
Yes. I respect Conan, but Dom, he's alright. That's all I can say. He's alright. And hopefully we get Dom versus Ray at Mania, so Dom can get his lessons.
Good old
Yeah.
Dom, I'm telling you.
Dom Dom.
Let's
Mhm.
see. Let's switch. I always ask this question for people who watch AEW because I love to hear the different opinions on it. Honest opinion on Tony Khan.
Oh my god!
I think that answers our question.
I stated earlier about I'm gonna say this earlier of what Alex told me on that question about like what wrestling product I lean towards more and stuff like that. And I did mention even though Tony Khan did something questionable, which Tony Khan he really need to get his shit together because I feel like he really need to get a team. He needs a creative booking. He need to hire someone. Yeah, creative booking. He cannot do anything by himself. Because like he's gonna be overworking himself. Like we already witnessed, like his demeanor, like his expression. He cannot do anything for himself because like I feel is that like if you want to like keep AEW going, just hire more team too. And like I said, I do love watching AEW, and I'm going to be going to all the AEW shows next week.
Hey,
Two
okay.
shows in Cal Palace, AEW Revolution, and after Revolution, the one at the Golden One Center in Sacramento. That's where I'm going to be all going to AEW show. But they really need to work a lot, especially with the storyline, the build up for AEW Revolution, which I understand it's like, we're like a couple days away for Revolution though, but
Mhm.
seriously, TK really needs to focus on is the brand instead of like doing anything and have people by his side too. And this is just me, and I did state it before on the Phenomenal Four podcast. I just honestly feel he's very intimidated by Triple H though. Well, WWE, because since Triple
Mhm.
H took over creative though. So I just wish that he should just able to just don't worry about what WW or the
Did she like out?
focus
Or
on
like out?
AEW
Mhm.
and AEW alone and the working relationship with other promotions as well.
Okay. How do you feel about the current reign of MJF? Do you think it's going the way it should be, or is something missing?
I don't think she heard you. I don't know if she's disconnected or not. Is she lagging?
Oh, yep. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Aglo.
We have the same name, but it's just spelled different.
they're lopsided.
They're leaning. They're
You can't-
leaning.
You can't spell Alex without Axel and Alex without and Axel without Alex.
But Viva la Raza, yeah, yeah, Tony Montana.
You know what? Until she gets the link back, you know what? Q&A, impromptu Q&A.
Okay, so if you were a bear,
Yes, I would do it. Yes, I would. Yes, I would eat a brick.
Cocaine bear, baby.
Yeah, I knew where you were going when you said the bear.
But I mean, let's see. Because it was about to be time anyway. So, regardless of the fact, guys, I think the next time you will be seeing us going live, well, me and Lewis will be going to the. Oh, wait. Nope, she's back. Hold on.
She back?
She's back.
Back.
Sorry,
Black.
internet is kicking my ass. Maybe saying about Tony Khan kind of like
That or
I
unless you
leave
got that weird weather in California, because right
saying,
now,
yes, I do.
But
Yes.
the next question
What-
was, how do you feel
what did-
about the current reign of MJF? Do you
Current
feel
reign
like
of
it's giving what it's supposed to give, or is it missing something?
He's doing a pretty good job. I just wish I want to see him in more in-ring action too. So that way that we could definitely see like which other opponent he can wrestle too. Because I know people are very criticize about his in-ring work though. And I do agree, it does need a little bit more tweaking. But other than that, like it just needs a little bit more what's missing within MJF though. Yeah, he cut fantastic promo, but it's his in-ring work.
Okay.
all right.
Oh.
And then
Am
the
I there?
last.
Yeah, we can hear you, but like I said, you've been lagging here and there.
Hello?
It's fine. Oh,
Alex?
Yeah, what's
Oh,
up,
No.
Axel? You can see me, right?
no, yeah, I can see you.
It's Sienna. Her internet's lagging again.
It's the Cali weather.
Oh, what the hell am I?
Oof.
Well- Hey.
Afro circus. Poke it up. Afro.
Hey, Bianca Belair. Hey, and Paul Heyman right there. Hey, Alex has no hair. Hey.
Primus for squares.
All right, don't disrespect Prime. You don't disrespect the Prime.
I got more hair than Paul Heyman.
Wait till after Mania. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
You ain't gonna do it. Heard y'all speaking. I should have done. I mean, hey, Tony Khan, you smell.
Well,
Yep.
I guess Tony Khan doesn't
Khan
like
doesn't
the
want you to
podcast.
speak ill of him.
Yep, exactly. Or the
Alright, well.
weather gods.
Well, this was gonna be the last question anyway, because I do remember that you do have to go to work soon. So, the AEW's women division. We all know it has the potential. It's not at the best right now. What's one thing that you would fix to help out the women's division in AEW?
Easy, the booking. Like everybody else, they really need to fix the booking. We do have plethora of AEW women's superstar. Do not get enough shine though. They really need to fix the booking of each of the AEW women's division. I mean, as much as I respect Jay Cargill, but her reign as a cocaine which, fun fact, I'm gonna go see that movie next Saturday.
Oh, there we go.
Cocaine
I have
Bear,
a big
yep.
announcement for AEW, and
Which
it's going
is
to be
the first-
good.
Yes, which is going to be the first ever movie I'm going to see at a theater post pandemic, though. So
Oh,
that's going to be something I'm looking
dang.
forward to. But other than that, yeah, the booking, they really need to work on the booking big time because I said it before, since AEW debut, they really need to emphasize more of the women's division. We have incredible, talented female wrestlers on the roster that are not getting enough shine. And Jade Cargill, respect her, but her title reign reminds me of Goldberg. Just saying.
I mean, I think that's what
Oof.
they were trying to go for, but I mean, that is a bad
Mhm.
thing at the same time.
Mhm.
It is.
It is. And then, with the whole spray
Yeah.
painting of Tony Storm's butt and
That-
all that,
I'm not behind with the whole Soraya Tony Storm heel turn, nor like the
neither
logical
am
story.
I.
So let me go ahead and make this short and sweet because
Go
I
ahead,
got
go ahead.
disconnected. Okay, Tony Khan really needs to get his team, because and focus on AEW. MJF, keep what he's doing, but the in-ring work needs some tweaking and more in-ring action from him. AEW Women's Division needs to make a major overhaul, especially creative bookings, and who should be in charge of the AEW Women's Division.
I respect it.
Yep.
I really do. Yeah, that women's division has a lot of potential, but what they're doing right
Mhm.
now, I don't.
With no direction, how are they going to get there?
And that's the
Exactly.
issue.
And that's
the
really
issue.
sad.
Jade should have been lost the title. She should be going for the world title at this point.
Yeah.
The TBS title should be used for mid-card storylines that you have.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm going to say WWE is doing a phenomenal job with the women's division. Raw, NXT, which NXT features more women in
Mhm.
NXT. Raw and SmackDown, they're doing an impressive job. Impact Wrestling, always a phenomenal job with the Knockouts division, though. But AEW really need to get their shit together.
Hmm.
They really
Mhm.
do. But Alex, do you have any more questions?
No, you pretty much took all the questions that I was going to ask, and I don't want her to get attacked by Tony Khan again on the internet.
So with that note, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out for this podcast. I really appreciate every single one who came out. I would let Sienna just give her socials and everything like that one last time before we go.
All right. Y'all follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok at Sienna_Chanel_. Follow me on my Twitch channel. I do appear sometime, mostly going to be for gaming until I got to figure out with this whole like router situation so I can get back to the watch along. So it's at twitch.tv/Sienna_Chanel. Also, I'm part of a podcast called the Phenomenal Four Podcast. So make sure to follow the Panda Wrestling Company's Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Panda Wrestling Company. We do have all of the wrestling
them right
podcast show. That's right.
there.
So yeah, so it's not just podcast, but like we do a lot of plethora stuff like Ego Drip, focus on the different wrestling gears, drip, all that stuff, learning the ropes about like, different like wrestling promotion, all that stuff, to like watch alongs, to news, to games, and all that stuff as well. So again, follow the Panda Wrestling Company at twitch.tv/Panda Wrestling Company, and there'll be some interviews very soon to come. So make sure to follow that. Stay
Ooh.
tuned.
Again, guys,
We
thank
got
you
a
guys for
lot of
coming
surprise.
out. I can't wait to see it. I'll be watching you guys. I love that wrestling lady, Irish Neep. He's the Bray Wyatt guy.
That's right.
He took the job from me from TikTok. I saw him
He
doing
has
more
his
than
own
I.
segment.
Uh,
He does a segment on the Phenomenal Four podcast called Detective Neep, investigating Bray Wyatt stuff.
Yeah, you think the stuff on
Mhm.
TikTok is something? Trust me. Go watch the
Mhm.
streams. But again, guys, we'll be back with you. I want to say March 16th, whichever Monday Night Raw is in Providence. Be doing a live blog because that will be the first test. Because after that, the next stream you will be seeing from us is live blogs and reactions from WrestleMania,
WrestleMania.
NXT Stand and Deliver,
Yes, sir.
and Supercard of
Of
Honor.
honor. And
So-
for
I'll
those
be
that
there
are,
all.
and for those, I'll probably submit for your stuff. I'm gonna be going to DDT Wrestling on Thursday night as well. So we're gonna
I'll
some
see you
other-
there.
Oh, you're going to DDT?
I'm going to DDT.
There we go.
What you
I'll
mean,
see you.
Panda, on the podcast? Of course.
We'll
you,
do
you-
it.
You have my socials,
Yeah,
Panda.
Alex did, y'all. Oh, heads up, y'all. I'll be at AEW Dynamite, AEW Rampage at the Cow Palace. I'll be at AEW Revolution at the Chase Center and AEW Dynamite in Sacramento at the Golden One Center. And I'll be at DDT, Emo Fight GCW show, Supercard of Honor, and WrestleMania both nights.
There we
Yes,
go.
so-
sir. And just to leave us off on a funny note, big meaty men slapping meat. Thank you
Yeah,
guys. You
big
guy have a
meaty
good
man
Yeah.
slapping meat. That's what we're
Yeah.
gonna see.
have a good rest of your day, everyone.